Today's video is sponsored by Jobber. At the very end, we're going to break down all the expenses for this project using their job costing feature. I have been wanting a skid steer for quite a few years now, and I finally found one that was the right combination of distance and price that I felt like I really couldn't say no. So this is an Owatonna Mustang 1700 skid steer. I was told it's a 1981. For an 81, it looks to be in remarkably good shape. Now, I'm not saying it's in good shape. I'm just saying relatively speaking. It is not currently running. Here's how I got it on the trailer. And this is how I got it off the trailer. First issue is we're missing a battery. We also don't have any terminal there. This one doesn't look terrible, but I bought a new 2-pack that has the red one, so I'm just going to replace them both. Now this may be a little bit bigger battery than what's supposed to be in there, but that's all right. I just went to move this starter and everything broke off of it. Well, that's one way to get loose. This is like a brain teaser trying to figure this one out. So I've got one terminal that broke off and that goes here. Then I got one terminal that slid off and that one goes here. Then I got one terminal that just didn't have a screw and that one goes here. So this key switch looks like it just goes off one way and then on in another. And I'm guessing that it just directs the current to one of those posts. So maybe one of these heads to the glow plugs and then one heads to the starter. I'm not sure. For about $100 I was able to get every single manual for this thing online. So I've got the owner's manual coming, I've got the service manual, I've got the parts manual, and then I've also got the parts manual for the Perkins diesel engine that's in this thing. So hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier for getting parts and knowing what goes where. I'm going to worry about heat shrinking all this stuff once I figure out if it works or not. I'm missing a floor pan here that would be really comfortable to stand on. This whole post is spinning. All right. And that was a bear. All right, the battery is hooked back up. Good. Frightened me. There's no seat pan, so that everything's spinning right under here. Looks like we're gonna need a belt there. There, that thing is busted. But at least she wants to start. Whenever I showed up and started looking at it, I was able to pull this pin and swing the counterweight, but something must have bound up in that time. These Owatonnas, they came in a lime green. Obviously this one's painted yellow, but I think we can tell that the green is actually the original color. (1700-3) maybe 10206. 10206, is that the serial number? And then a 1703. This would be something solved pretty quickly with a vice grip, but I'm just too lazy to go get one. So instead I'm wasting more time trying to do this. Something 2276, maybe 3276 140 C1N. There's definitely fluid in there. And in there too. I don't understand. Okay, if I've got two fuel tanks, it looks like this one runs into here and it comes up here right into the injector rail. And again, I could be using all the wrong words. But why doesn't it get filtered? Like, why is it going straight from here and it curls around up into there? Now this fuel line from the other tank comes around and it goes into the lift pump, and then it goes from there into the primary and secondary filter, and then from there it snakes around to here. But I don't understand why this fuel tank doesn't get filtered. You might be able to see it a little bit better here. Here's the coming out of the fuel tank, comes out, and it comes right into here. Oh, unless this is just some kind of a, if this just secures it and it flows. No, because then it would have to go. I don't understand. Very confused by that. We also have some replacement hydraulics. This should be solid line, just like this guy over here. So if we can get this running, there's still going to be quite a bit of work to do on the hydraulic system. I mean, these lines are really scary too. Here's another example. Those solid lines get tucked up nice under the arm. Here, because they replaced them with hose, it just runs out. I mean, you can even see the wear, but obviously that hose is not supposed to be touching the tires. I also mentioned glow plugs earlier. I have no clue if this thing does have glow plugs or not. But like I said, I've got all the parts manual, so that'll be helpful because I can figure out what lines were supposed to go where and, you know, what the right muffler is. This muffler we'll have to replace. It's cracked here. They had welded it right here. You can see it's flopping around right at that spot. I guess first order of business at this point, now that everything's cleaned up, there's where we're going to change our oil at. First, let's check our oil level. It's all the way down there at the bottom, and it does not look good either. Yeah, so we're low. We'll go ahead and change it. This lip looks like it's positioned just well enough to catch that. I don't love it, so let's see if we can build a little ramp for it. All right, let's see what we've got. Oh, that's not going quite like I wanted, but we'll just do slow and steady. It's definitely draining. I'm gonna go crack the oil fill, put a little air behind it. So while that's draining, take a look at some of the other stuff we got. Proper hold down for the battery. When I went to Perkins' website, there were 2 oil filters that were listed for this engine. I couldn't really see which one I needed, so I just got both of them. I think they were like less than 15 bucks a piece. I got a few fuel filters. Say that 5 times fast. I got 2 of those. I don't fully understand on this machine. It looks like there isn't a water separator. So I found a 2-bolt version of one of those that was pretty cheap and comes with a fuel filter. I don't know a lot about diesels, but aren't you supposed to have a water separator? It looks like somebody just put 2 regular fuel filters. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. Then we got a replacement air filter too. So I think this back gasket's stuck back here. I also am not 100% sure of the order you're supposed to do things on diesel machines that you aren't sure if it works. I think I've only spent like, you know, I don't know, 300 or 400 on parts so far, maybe a little bit more. I'm not tightening that down yet. Now, I'm no diesel mechanic, heavy equipment operator, but I don't think your tire treads are supposed to be separating from the tire like that. The other thing that I'm confused with is the manual says these are supposed to be 10 16.5s, but they look like they're 7/15s. So I don't know if that's just something that they did on purpose. I also don't know if these rims now, if I'll have to get new rims for 10 16.5s. It looks like there'd be room for the 10 16.5s. I just don't know. We're down to 4 lugs on this guy. That one looks welded in. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's just missing. That's really weird. So for figuring out fuel, I mean, is the first thing to do, crack open those filters and see if it's pushing out of there. Oh! La 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 la. Well, my face was just barely to the side of that. I mean, it looks like it's got fuel going. Now do we see if it's going to the rail? Is that the next? All right, we'll stand a little bit off to the side this time. Whoa! I don't know if that's what it's supposed to do, but... So I believe this is my shut off. I think you push to shut it off. It seems to be engaging something back there. Let me see if I can... So hopefully that's the thing actually shutting off. That is our oil filter. The question is how to set you up so you can watch. I think that's my oil pressure hose that's in the way. Whatever this thing is just kind of flopping. That's probably not the way it's supposed to be. Ah, I see there's a bracket that's holding it. I just bent it out of the way. It's probably something else we'll have to fix. What was that? It's my piece of wood. So telling you this is like a bad spot. This is where I'm at trying to get this thing. Is it turning any? I can't get anything on that. I don't know if my jaw slipped. I don't know if the bolt bent. Something moved. All right, this is the last thing I can think of before I just start crying in a corner. This. And this. I have no clue if this is gonna work. It'll be the stupidest thing I ever make work, if it does. My hand is right where I can't see what I'm doing. You know, I wonder if this thing is even putting any pressure on the oil filter, if I'm just stuck on the oil block, on the engine block. It doesn't help that there's not really any good place to get leverage on any of this stuff. Well, maybe some more room would help. I don't know if this is a block heater or what, but our plug runs all over here. So it runs to this thing that I've moved around a couple times. It's got a hose going to the engine block there, then a hose going to the engine block there. And this looks like radiator hose. So I'm wondering if that's like a engine coolant warmer. It doesn't look very safe one way or the other, but I just don't know what that thing is. Oh, this oil filter's a real pain. I wandered around Tractor Supply and found this and this. Let's see if this will work. Oh, I broke it. Okay, great. But that's what broke. Popped right off. So a few days later, I've got some tools from Amazon. This is an oil filter vice grip wrench. This is an oil filter removal tool that hooks into 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch ratchet. I think we're going to try this first. I was afraid this thing would be too short because of the way that filter's shaped. Looks like it might be. It also, where it puts it, there's just no room to spin anything, even if I did get it tightened down. Smart, real smart. So this is when I'm going to feel really stupid, because apparently it's not a spin-on. This bolt right here is what, God, look at it coming right off. Unbelievable. All right, well, let's clean this up. So here we go. AC filter H201, element AC20, made in good old England. I cleaned this guy out as much as I could. There was quite a bit of sediment down at the bottom. Like all these little flakes of stuff. I got no clue what that is. So that's the remains of just jamming rags in there and rotating them around. Got it pretty much as clean as I think I can. We've got rain coming tomorrow, so I'm just gonna minus the filter, put this back on the body, you know, so water doesn't get in the block or anything. But I'll have to order a filter for that. I thought I had a twist on thing. That was completely my fault for assuming. And yeah, I wasted probably, I don't know, 5 hours trying to get this oil filter off. only to realize that it probably would have taken me 20 minutes if I knew what I was doing. So that's always a nice feeling. So here we are a week later with the correct filter. There's our replacement. Came with some extra gaskets as well, some instructions. So we'll take it back off the block, see if we can get it all set up. Forgot to mention, I also picked up a new gasket, which I'm hoping works. This doesn't look like what I ordered. Like the part looks closer. Looks closer to that, which you can't really see. But this is what it looks like. This thing looks like it's been in there a while. All right. Looks good enough. This thing's falling apart. I've got that cleaned up about as good as I think I'm going to get it. It looks like we should be good there. If you're saying to yourself that gasket doesn't look like it does its job, I agree, but this is what was on there, and this is the part number that came up too. So oh boy, that's a little more difficult. This thing not lining up. Well, that took about 30 minutes. So this is the cheapest stuff they had at Walmart. I'm sure there's a lot better options, but you know, for a 40-year-old machine, I don't think it's going to be too picky. When I was putting the filter housing on, the bracket that holds that thing on broke. It's pretty cold this morning. I want to see if we can start it, but I do want to see if that's what I think it is, and it's some kind of a engine block heater that ties into the, you know, the coolant. So my guess is if you plug it in and it works right, it converts some of that electricity to heat, and I don't think it would filter the coolant through, but I'm guessing it would just warm the coolant that's around it. I honestly have no clue. I don't even know if the thing works. We'll see. A measurement of the top of it is currently 42 degrees. A section of the hose down of it's 42.8, 42.9, 43.2. And this section of hose right next to it is 42. I think it was probably too dark to see there too, but I got the battery installed with the new hold down, so that shouldn't move anywhere either. I really don't love the wiring that's done through here. It's not factory by any means, so if I move forward with this, redoing that might be on the list. But I want to get this starter where it's supposed to, which is right here, so I can put the seat pan on, so I can actually, you know, start it and run it possibly from the seat. Oh, and of course it's not big enough, or it's too big. Yeah. Okay, so what do we do here? Well, let's put the seat pan back and see if I can reach the key, because there is a little bit of a gap where that seat pan sits, I think. Let's see what it looks like. So if we can put this outside, I don't know if we've got enough cord for it. We've got the seat back on. I wrapped the ignition in some electrical tape because it's pretty close to some metal pieces, and I think I might have sparked something when I was moving it, but at least this way I can start it while I'm sitting down. It's been quite a while. We're still around 40 degrees on whatever that thing is, and the tubing by it. So I'm gonna say it's either broken or it's not what I think it is, or possibly both. I've got some chocks in different places on the machine. I don't know if it's gonna wanna move when it starts up. What else? I've got the intake off for starting fluid if I need it, and then also for a piece of wood if it ends up running away. I don't know anything about diesel engines. I know runaways terrify me. Let's go ahead and unplug this. I don't think that's doing anything. I don't even know, it might just be it's not even getting any electricity because somebody painted over those terminals. I don't know. I don't think there's anything left but to try and start it. I'm actually pretty nervous. That scared me. It started like it wanted to do it. All right, well, she's smoking, but she starts up. Oh boy, I was really terrified about that. It doesn't sound like it wants to run away, and it looks like my fuel shutoff works, which was the main things I was concerned with. That's pretty exciting, I gotta admit. Well, that's super exciting. Already found a hydraulic leak, so there is definitely a need for new hoses. Right. Let's see, where was it? This guy right here is leaking. I don't know if you can see it, that drop right there. The other thing this makes me feel good about is that if I did need to get rid of this for some reason, at least now I can say it runs. That belt that I knew we would need, it did throw. It ripped. The good news is now it can't accidentally move forward on me because there's no drive belt. So this controls the the pump, this belt transfers power from the engine to the drive functions. So that's how I was able to, you know, raise and lower the arms and tilt the bucket. But I didn't want to play around with those functions too much because I am significantly concerned about those hoses. Hydraulic pressure is nothing to mess around with. And, you know, if one of those lines ruptured and hit me with oil, that'd be an immediate trip to the hospital. We've got to get a new belt. We've got a ton of work ahead of us to get this thing back into a safe and working condition. But for a first step, I think this is pretty good. Like I've been watching a lot of like diesel mechanic channels and people restoring old equipment, and I'm just so tickled pink that all I had to do was shoot a little starting fluid into this thing and it fired up. That's really fun for me. Definitely need to do something about this exhaust. You can see I did all this. They had it, hopefully it's not too hot, they had it tack welded up there. So this, but it's busted in several places, so I got to figure something out. Maybe we can cut it there and splice something in. It looks like this is all rusted together, so I've got no clue. New hoses, of course, new seat. We're missing panels, so I'll see if I can get some of those made. Like there's supposed to be a panel that covers here. There's supposed to be a panel that comes across there. Where else? I think there was supposed to be a panel that went across here for stepping into. Like your whole feet were supposed to be kind of protected while you were operating. Our grease zerks don't look too good on the machine. I know a lot of people don't like when these kind of videos get split into different parts. Unfortunately, I don't really have an option because I'm going to need your folks' help on a lot of stuff getting this thing back to life, because I don't know much. So hopefully as a first video, this one was entertaining, and you know, you feel like you got to a good starting point. It wasn't a cliffhanger or anything. I don't know if this thing will be used in the business. That would be the ideal end goal, but I still don't know enough about it just to, you know how it functions. And obviously I didn't get to test the drive capabilities any. But please follow along. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. It's not my normal one, but it's pretty exciting for me. So I'm glad to have you folks along on the ride, and hopefully I'll get a new one out. I don't know when, but this is winter time, so I'm not really mowing. So this is the main thing I have to check out. I guess hydraulic hoses are probably the next step, which I'm hoping are not going to be thousands of dollars. I know they're not going to be cheap, especially with as many hoses as this thing has. We'll start from there and get our belt so we can test our drive system, and maybe that'll be the next video, is installing all those things and checking all the functions of it, maybe taking it out of the driveway and seeing if we can do some work with it. Anyways, thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Jobber is the software I use to run my business. We're going to calculate all the expenses so far using their job costing software. First, we'll take a look at the Facebook listing. I was able to be one of the first few guys to message this seller. He buys and sells a lot of equipment. He got this from an older fella who I'm assuming is the one who owned the company. From what I could piece together from him, this was a backup machine that started developing some issues, and instead of fixing, they just let it sit. I think it was something about either the ignition or the starter or something. It was only listed for $1,800, so I was pretty certain that even with the time to go pick it up, the travel time back, you know, the time that I would dump into trying to fix it, even if I couldn't, I'd still be able to get $1,800 back out of it. That's just such a ridiculously cheap price for a machine. And there are machines that are all burned out from fire that sell around here for thousands of dollars just for the parts. Now, obviously, those are newer machines and they're not 1981s, but still, to find something that had the potential of running for $1,800, I had to snap this up. Starting from the oldest to newest, of course, I had to eat some dinner on the trip. That was $40 at Chick-fil-A. The loader itself was $1,800. That same night, I went ahead and bought 2 paper manuals off of eBay. That was a manual, parts manual for the engine and a parts manual for the loader for $45. For another $40, I picked up digital versions, which I printed off, of the 1700 owners and service manual. I had to get a battery, pay the core charge, and pick up some terminals from O'Reilly. That was $210. I also filled up on fuel. I used an entire tank for that round trip. That was right at $100 of fuel. $70 in 2 fuel filters and a new fuel filter assembly. This is stuff that I did not need in order to start the machine, but I will be swapping out soon, so I'm glad I had that. I did need a new air filter. This purchase from Perkins Direct was probably a waste. That's $42 for 2 oil filters and an oil filler cap seal that I will not be using. At Walmart, I bought 2 gallons of the motor oil for a diesel machine, a funnel, and some binders for those paper manuals. A new battery hold down from Amazon for $7, a diesel gas can, which I haven't even used yet, for $41. On eBay, I bought a service manual for the engine. That actually hasn't even shipped yet. It was supposed to be here by now, so I opened up a ticket on eBay to get a refund for that. About $10 on little stickers to reinforce the hole punches in those paper manuals that I made. $30 wasted on tools to remove the oil filter, which is not a spin-on. And then a gasket and the correct oil filter, about $30 for both of those. Those both went on the machine. All told, that brings us to a grand total at the end of this video of $2,563.10. If you're interested in the cost and keeping up with it, be sure and watch the next video, because I can tell you those hydraulic hoses, yeah. I'm going to need the AdSense revenue from you watching that next video to pay for them, so please stay tuned. Thanks again for watching.